Hey there and happy Wednesday. So this week is just really trucking by, but that usually happens when I have a live event. I feel like so much of the last details go into place the day before, and then it's the big day of, and that was a great week. So I got out a new rhubarb recipe. So I made rhubarb bars on Monday for yesterday's stamp camp and had about 20 people here. So I was so excited that many people were available to come over and enjoy making cards together. So thank you for those that came out, and so now I want to do a little catch up. I don't have another in-person event for a few weeks, so I just want to kind of catch up on the projects that I've been doing at in-person events, and then maybe even give a sneak peek for some of the things that I will be planning going forward for the next events too. So, and yes, for those that are wondering, I want to do another stamp camp. I need to finalize some details with moving my son off to the next college for the end of July. So I just want to make sure that I don't double book myself or spread myself too thin for where I am needed. But yes, so look for an update on this page once I get to that date finalized. So today I'm bringing you this card from the Beautiful Gallery. It focuses on the Beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper from the Gallery Motifs Suite, and I'm so excited that this kind of came together, that this is a card I chose to do today, because let me turn around the camera. We are having a sale right now, Stampin' Up! All month long is having a sale on sweets, and not just sweets, but anything related to or in a sweet. So kind of an interesting type sale for the fact that it really covers a lot of material. So here's the card once again. I wanted to create this card. I saw this idea somewhere else. It's such a great way when you have especially 6x6, well, any kind of paper, and you go, oh, the back side's just as pretty. Well, and I'll show you this more when I get into making the card, because it's a very quick and easy card. But how fun that you can showcase this, because it's just kind of hanging on by a thread or by this section here. So you can show the front side and the back side of the Designer Series paper by having it that way with the measurements and everything, and I'll show you that. But back to the sweet sale. So in the annual catalog, you will see that there are different sweets, and so I just want to show the one that I'm working with today, because no better way than what I'm working on to show you kind of how that goes into place. Okay, so it actually starts on page 52 and 53. You'll see all these gorgeous, gorgeous samples. The paper just went, wow. Sometimes I think, is this my jam? And then I turn to the next page and I think, oh my goodness, has Stampin' Up! Ever come out with such beautiful paper? And then, of course, I go to the event a couple months ago, back in March, the middle of March, I should say, in North Carolina. And of course, somebody does stuff with all the products in both bundles and then uses all the stuff, and I go, okay, top of the list. Okay, so for those of you that maybe have not ordered this and are thinking, oh yes, I was thinking that same thing, this is your month to order. Or if you have more things. So the whole suite of products, let's see, usually it's on, oh, here it is. Okay, so this whole suite of products, $139.25. You get 2 bundles, an embossing folder, embellishments, ribbon, and a pack of the 6x6 DSP, which is 48 sheets. So that is a lot of product. But say you go, okay, completely the other way to totally whimsical, and you go, oh, but I really like the turtle suite, and this one's like $80.50. Well, you can buy this one and get this one for half. Yes, 12 by 12 for just $40.25, guys. It's like such a deal. So what I want to do next after this video also is somebody had screenshotted like all the current suites that this would apply to, that this sale would apply to. So I want to take and copy those screenshots that I have and put them just to help you, because a lot of times you're like, am I missing something that maybe is online that's not in a catalog? Or it gives you a good starting point of, okay, that's not my favorite, eliminate. Sometimes that's the best way to shop. I find myself doing that if I'm overwhelmed, like how can I eliminate and then focus on what is left. So that's one way that the sale works for you. And another way that the sale can work for you is you might go, well, I have something that might work. I don't need these bundles, but I really love the paper. I love it so much I want two. Well, when you buy one and put that in your cart, the next one will be 50% off. And so that's pretty cool. So anything associated. So we're talking the any of the embossing folders, embellishments, ribbons, papers, and even there again we can go to the turtle paper. Same thing here, it's got embossing folder, ribbon, embellishments, paper. And so what Stampin' Up does is takes like the top two items that you're gonna pay full price on, that takes the lowest two items and you're going to pay top two items you're going to pay 100% on that. The bottom priced lowest items you're going to pay 50% of. So I would not suggest putting a whole suite in and another suite and then your papers and such into one order, because you're going to have these huge suite prices in comparison to the lower priced accessories and stuff that you're going to get 50% off. I hope that makes sense. So if you did the two suites instead of getting this one for $40.25, you might get your ribbon then for $4.25, because it's going to say, oh, you know, this is half price because this is the highest price item. So I don't mention names when people are ordering, but I had a super savvy person last night, and she went in and she ordered the suites that she wanted. She went back and just got a whole bunch of papers that were the same price. And then she got embellishments and ribbons. And then she went, oh, I haven't looked at the last chance because that got updated, got some stuff out of there. So, and even some of the stuff that is last chance was part of a suite. So I'm like, how did she get those embellishments? Like yesterday we worked on that airplane card with the trinkets, industrial trinkets. Yeah, those can be half price if something else, you know, is in conjunction with that. She got them for like $2.95 because that was her half price item. And so it's just amazing how many things that covers. But like I said, I want to screenshot that after today's video. But like anytime, if you have questions on anything, please let me know. Because yeah, it's kind of almost overwhelming because you think sweet, you think the whole package deal, which it does. But then if you're like me, now once I've got this whole package, the whole suite, I'm going to go back after some more ribbon. I'm going to go back after more embellishments and paper so I can keep using my things. So that's kind of fun to know that way also. All right. Hello, those of you joining, Kelly, Tabitha, Kathy, and such. Okay, now I want to open this back up because I really didn't talk in depth about the things. Oh, thought I had that kind of almost, here we go, getting close, wore out because I've been focusing on it. So what I want to show in depth, because I am using the suite. So now I'm back to just let's create this card together. Okay, so here we have, I'm going to start at the top corner, the beautiful motif. So this bundle is so pretty, and I'm going to be using Thinking of You, and I'm going to be using this little motif here, and let's see, think I'm here for you always. So that's what I'm using out of here. The dies that go with it are kind of unique and fun, kind of has that Baroque look to it. This one I can't wait to show you guys. This one, it doesn't cut out. It just kind of makes this pattern. And so when you have it on cardstock, the leaves you can kind of poke up and out, and it just has a very unique look. And hopefully you'll see some of those looks online, because I'm not seeing that here, but it's just a super different look, and it just looks so classy, all of that. So this is what goes together as a bundle. So this is the beautiful motifs bundle that's part of this gallery suite. And then the gallery blooms. Now this is where we bring in more of the floral images. And then not only do they have the die cuts to die cut these gorgeous flowers, which they do, and then they even have some extra little tidbits too. They have these cool frames, And so the frames have been just what's catching my eye too. And I love how they have used them on so many samples. And once again, the gal that showed this whole suite of products to us on stage was just like so talented. So it got me going right off the get-go. And then the Damask Designs embossing folder has that very unique, like Baroque look, very classy looking. So that's part of the suite. And then you'll laugh at me, but so these pressed flower motifs, they're heavy, not bulky for mailing, so don't worry about that, but probably one of the heavier embellishments that we've had. So they tend to move around in the packaging just because I think as the weight shifts, they want to shift, and nothing wrong, nothing that's bad about that. But when they clump together because of the season, this is where you're gonna laugh. I think that they look like wood ticks, and I just detest wood ticks. They creep me out probably more than any other insect out there. And so when they're all clumped together, they kind of look like little wood ticks. But these are the pressed flower motifs. And then the ribbon that comes with the suite, so pretty, just very subtle. And this is the basic beige classic ribbon. Yeah, so very classic. Kind of has a linen feel, very easy to tie and such. For doing classes, I always like to give options, and so I had kind of a just newly retired ivory. It's just like so soft ribbon, so that was in there. I did check, that one is gone. The other one that's on the last chance list is the basic beige bordered ribbon, and so this is the same ribbon that we've had as of last year that also comes in like the Shy Shamrock, Petunia Pot, Peach Pie, Pretty in Pink, and Summer Splash. So if you're familiar with that bordered ribbon, that coordinates really well too. So and then this paper, you guys, oh my goodness. So yeah, this is my quick and easy card. So I like it sometimes when my quick and easy cards pair up with like me showcasing a suite for the first time. So this is great. And then you can tell, very vintage. Those of you that like to do vintage albums, this would be like perfect for that. So this one has a little bit more fabric to it. Kind of reminds me of like, being in Europe or in like Dutch and touring the old museums and their tapestries and different things like that. And then just beautiful background. And then look at this, you guys. And then this one, okay, this one looks like it could be a postcard. So I'm kind of putting that one off to see how can I make it look like a postcard. And then this, like I don't even want to cut into this, but I can't wait to cut into this, right? And then just matching, like this would have been a good card to do what I'm doing today because the background match is so perfect. Just loving all of these designs, kind of your little kind of European like cottage look here, and then by the sea, love that. Yeah, I skipped the last background, but like just so fun, distressed and just brush strokes. And this, my goodness, like should be framed. And then that. So that's some of them, because some of them I've taken out to make these cards, right? Okay, let me get to making the card. Enough of that. Okay, so this is one of the samples. And then I'm just showing a different pattern of the designer series paper on the card that I'm going to make for you. So this is a beautiful one. There's another one that's kind of like this that had more of the basic beige flowers, like wild country flowers on there too. That was another option. And kind of down to the last of the last because of the number of people that came yesterday, which is great. So what I started with is early espresso, 8.5 by 11, scored it down the middle at the 4 1/4, and then cut it in half. So then what I did is just cut off another 2.5 inches. So this actually measures 5.5, like a normal card size, by 6. Yes, I just want to double check. Yeah, 5.5. Sometimes when I make so many cards, like I start with the full and then cut them down, then my measurements get skewed in my head. Yes, so 5.5 by 6 inches, with that score being at the 4 1/4 there. So let's just get out the bone folder and give that a good score there. And then, oh shoot, let's see. Please bear with me 1 second. I need to get some adhesive. That would be so important, right? And this is why they truly call it a live video. Okay, my grandkids came over at the end of stamp camp, and that threw me off. Not last night, it didn't throw me off, because they used my adhesive. And usually I'm used to having it right on my desk. Okay, so now I've got adhesive. Sorry about that. So I'm professional, but it makes life truly feel like true life, right? Okay, so I'm just putting my adhesive right along there. And now for this is where this gets kind of fun. So picture a 6x6 piece like so, and then the piece that's needed for this is 3 inches, so we're going to cut that in half, and you're just cutting this, it's actually 5.5 by 3, so all you're doing is cutting like this strip off of the top, that is 1/2 inch, and then cutting the remainder into 2 sections, so it's 3 by 5.5. And so this strip is actually going to be used. So before we do that, I'm going to put this on, and I kind of hover it over the adhesive, but my main goal is to get that lined up with the bottom of the card. Not liking it totally. And so I'm just going to kind of start over here, and there we have it. Okay, now it's good. Now I can press it down like so. And so then it matches up with the card. So now it is a full front of the card. And I've done cards like this where I've just attached this onto the full card base. But what's so pretty is when you open it, then you get to see that back side, which is really fun. Like I said, it's such a great way to show off our papers. So now I'm going to take that basic beige classic ribbon and just tie that around kind of the area where it meets and comes together now. And I'm not big on ribbons, like tying them into bows, I should say. I'm big on ribbons, but I'm into tying them into knots. I had a brand new stamper. She came and made cards last night, and she tied hers in a bow right off the get-go. And we looked at her and said, like, that's not even fair. You're not supposed to be able to do that yet. And so, yeah, we were excited about her just being so naturally creative. That was fun to see. All right, so I'm just going to tie that down like so. And then to work on our sentiment, I'm going to open up my Early Espresso ink pad. And remember this 1/2 inch strip here? This is going to come into play now. I'm going to pull out the Thinking of You from the stamp set Beautiful Motifs. That's part of that. I'm going to give it just like a little bit of room to the left, and I want to make sure that I have a little bit of room to the right, and it'll make sense here in a little bit. I'm just going to cut that down like so. So we've got that 1/2 inch strip. This is going to be the only waist. And normally, because I've cut this in half, like the other designs have been, I'm trying to think if I have any of those left. I don't think I do. But anyway, if it was a design that wasn't so busy, like this is too busy to be able to stamp the Thinking of You and actually read it. This just doesn't look like it fits as well to have on the front. I like it for the back side. But anyway, normally you would get a Thinking of You and a Thinking of You, and there would be literally just like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch waist out of the whole 6x6 piece of that pretty paper, which is always exciting to me. And then what I did for my people yesterday is I left out like the edges. So, you know, we always use our dimensionals, and then we have all the mostly edge pieces and such. So I left these out so that people could just snip those off and then have like the perfect long pieces of the dimensional to pop that up. Okay, so now I'm going to just stick that right up there close to the ribbon to make sure I get it straight. Okay, so I've got that, and then it just coordinates so beautifully because it's the same paper. And then I'm going to grab one of those pressed flower motifs. So pretty. Oh, and I take your pick tool. That's out on a table too from last night. My house has not gotten put back yet together. Some of it has, but not all of it. Okay, so we're just adding just that one little embellishment there to the card. And then now we're going to work on the inside. and just want to kind of tie a little floral design into the theme of the card. So let me just ink up this from the beautiful motifs. How pretty is that to go across the bottom? You could have it going up too if you wanted, but I just like adding that. And then the sentiment to go on the inside too. I'm here for you always. So all of this is done in the Early Espresso ink pad. And I'm just going to tape some of that down and put that on here like so, and that finishes the card. So if you have some of that 6x6, I mean, what's the thing I hear often? I have a lot of paper, and so this is a fun way to take out your 6x6, and especially a lot of people are like, I'm just not always sure how to use my 6x6. So just kind of pull some of the colors out from that to go with this. Oh, I forgot one of my favorite parts of the card as I'm hanging on to it. This little strip. Yeah, I wanted to use that embossing folder. So I took a 5.5 by 1 inch. Let me double check that. Yep, 5.5 by 1 inch strip. And I ran it through the Damask Designs embossing folder. And that adds so much. Oh, because I was like, yeah, all you have to do is grab an embossing folder if you want for a fun little edge there. And here I didn't even put it on my own card. Oh, I would have been sad when I went to photograph it and post my live shot. I would have been, hey, there's something missing. And it does add a lot. I think it just classes the card up. But anyway, back to using up your 6x6. Yeah, if you have paper that's more whimsical, you can find more of a whimsical embossing folder. Or if you have, you know, something that's, you know, more festive or party, that's what I love about Stampin' Up's embossing folders. They just have stuff to meet all occasions, some that are more masculine, some more feminine, stuff like that too. So very nice. All right, now I feel like my card's complete, and I never know, like with the lighting, if you can even make out some of the embossing folders, some of those fine details, put it that way. That's why I'm always hoping my still shots capture a little bit more of the design too. All right, so I did quite a bit of talking, mostly about the sale going on and such with the suites, and I don't want anybody to miss out on that, especially with the catalog being so new and some newer online exclusives. It's fun to be able to get the sale before you've bought it without the sale. So that's part of that. But like I said, if you have any questions, like always, let me know. My goal is to do a couple videos this week, so maybe tomorrow or Friday I'll come back with some more inspiration for you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.